Welcome to Really American. I am Michael Hayne. Now, the Republican Party is a full-blown biohazard level 3, stage 5, 5-alarm dumpster fire. Hell, it's not even the Republican Party anymore. It's the Trumplican Party, which would explain why so many disaffected Republicans, classic Republicans, have been racing to endorse and pledge their support for Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris. It's unprecedented. This has included former Lieutenant Governor of Georgia. It is also he also spoke at the DNC. It's also included former Republican Rep Adam Kinzinger, who also spoke at the DNC. It's included the Cheneys, even Dick Cheney. That's right. the existential void that is Dick Cheney. He's in the column for Kamala Harris. So, where's your old boss? Conspicuous by his absence is George W. Bush, a man who has been the recipient of massive amounts of Trump attacks. It started with his good old brother Jeb. Remember, low energy Jeb, which is kind of ironic because, who's low energy now? Trumpy Dumpty. Anyway, and it's kind of interesting because I think we used to think that George Bush, we thought he was the root of all evil, we thought he was the worst possible thing that could ever happen to the Republican Party, because he invaded the wrong country. I looked into Saddam's eyes and I found out he's evil. But really, where is he? Where are you, W? Your country needs you. Anyway, so many Republicans and Democrats equally have, kind of spoken out against this. Where are you in the time of need, W? In fact, a top Democratic strategist who appeared on CNN on a panel actually addressed this as well. Let's see.
So before we get into our next debate, George W. Bush has talked a lot about democracy over the years. Here's a taste of that.
I ask you to be citizens. Citizens, not spectators.
One of the great strengths of America is our active public square. Issues are influenced by the will of the people. My hope is that you speak out on the issues that matter to you. By taking part in American democracy, you will make our country stronger.
But the former president has refused to endorse a candidate in this cycle. His office is saying, quote, President Bush retired from presidential politics years ago. But with voters concerned that democracy is on the ballot this year, does he have an obligation, a responsibility to speak out? Scott?
No.
You used to work for him?
Yeah, I did. And I revere this man and worked for him in 2 elections and in his White House. And I think he did an amazing job and is one of our greatest living Americans. No, I don't think he has a responsibility to speak out. I mean, once he left the presidency, he has basically stayed out of politics. Not everybody in his family has necessarily, but he, as a former president, has made the decision not to engage in the way that other former presidents have. And I think we ought to respect that. Look, he gives speeches and he does public appearances and he makes his views on issues known from time to time. But he has personally chosen not to wade into this personally, and I think we ought to leave him alone about it because it's his right to do that.
It is. It's absolutely his right. You're correct on that. I think, to me, what is more upsetting and disappointing is the fact that we were just having a conversation about how low the Republican Party can actually go in North Carolina, lower than many of us ever thought possible. And yet, how about speaking out about the fact that the former president, who is now trying to go back to the White House, actually incited an insurrection and violence at our Capitol where people died? How about the fact that this man has 34 felony counts against him? I mean, you don't have to speak out if it's about, if you don't want to. But if you don't speak out, this is what happens to your party. And I think I agree, actually, with Liz Cheney that maybe you got to just burn it down and try to build something new.
Did you ever think that Dick Cheney would be the first to endorse a Democrat and not George W. Bush? I don't know. Go ahead.
When I think about, all of us are talking.
I completely agree. And let's just take stock of where we are now, where we've been the past 8 years. If you were to have somebody from even 2010 be in a coma, wake up now, explain to them everything that has happened to our country, how somehow Trump was president, can still run for president, all that's happened, they'd say, put me back in that freaking coma right now. I mean, seriously, I made, maggots want to talk about Trump derangement syndrome. Oh, like anytime you call into question any litany of insane, bullshit, horrible things Trump has said and done, it's immediately TDS. But in 2017, this was in 2017, I made a pretty viral video called Trump Fatigue Syndrome. And at the time, I thought the cure would have been Muellerall, Robert Mueller in that investigation. But it's gone. It's continued. The nightmare has seemingly not ended. So again, W, are you painting feet? Where are you? And it's not like you're a complete stranger to speaking out against Trumpy Dumpty, or at least, subtly. Let's take a look at what he said, what he had previously said when Trump actually was president.
The American dream of upward mobility seems out of reach for some who feel left behind in a changing economy. Discontent deepened and sharpened partisan conflicts. Bigotry seems emboldened. Our politics seems more vulnerable to conspiracy theories and outright fabrication. Bullying and prejudice in our public life sets a national tone, provides permission for cruelty and bigotry, and compromises the moral education of children. The only way to pass along civic values is to first live up to them. People of every race, religion, ethnicity can be fully and equally American. It means that bigotry or white supremacy in any form is blasphemy against the American creed.
And former President Bush, let it be known, he was saying all this like barely a year, it might have been a year, I think, maybe a year or two, into Trumpy Dumpty's first term. All right? I mean, this is when the entire country, most of the country, and the planet was always on edge, not knowing what this psychotic, malignant, unhinged, fascist, criminal con man was going to tweet, what he was going to do. We were like just hoping he would finally be able to contain his shit and be normal. And there would be some resumption of normalization, but nothing. No, it was pure unbridled chaos. And former President Bush was speaking out against that. But like I said, barely a year or two into this. But where is he now? A lot has happened. And so much unprecedented, crazy things have been said and done. I mean, and of course, there's the, 34 criminal counts he was convicted on. But you would think, the insurrection would be the soft button for W. But, I don't know. So, again, W, your country needs you. Why you MIA? Come to the fold. Like I said, even Dick Cheney. Cheney's on board with Kamala. So where the hell are you? I am Michael Hayne. This is Really American. Please subscribe to our channel and hit me up on my latest TikTok at Mike Hayne Comedian. Talk to you later.